All right, so we're in our last unit for this quarter. So we're talking about personal transportation. So you're going to need to borrow $5,000 to buy a used car. Your family has said that they'll loan you the money, but will charge you 4.1% APR, which is calculated with simple interest over the span of 5 years. Car dealership is offered financing for 4.2% for the same length of time. Calculate the interest paid yearly on the simple interest loan. Determine the amount you pay for the loan over the course of 5 years, and then determine the monthly payment for the loan. Okay, so you got that simple interest formula, which is, change color, I equals PRT. So we have 5,000 times 0.041, and then times 5. And when we multiply that out, we're going to get 1,025. Now, you'll have the amount, which is going to be 5,000 plus this amount that you just found. So this is the interest. Okay, so it'll be $6,025. Now, in order to figure out the monthly payment, we're going to take the total and divide it by 12. And when you do that, you're going to get 100.42. Okay. The next one, calculate the monthly payment on the compound interest loan. Then determine the amount of pay for the loan over the course of 5 years. So if we take that, and we're going to do 5,000, and we're going to multiply this by 1. All right, let me grab that formula for you. So it's the monthly payment is equal to your initial, so your principal balance, times R divided by N, times 1 plus R divided by N, raised to the N times T. And then we're going to divide that by 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT minus 1. So you're going to plug into this formula. And this formula is on your paper. I would also just make sure you kind of have it handy. If you need it for a test, just let me know. So I'm going to erase this so I have enough space. And so when I plug in, I'm going to get 5,000 times 0.0035 times 1.0035, 60, because that's the N times T, over 1.0035 raised to the 60 minus 1. When you type all that into your calculator, you're going to get 92.53. And then we're going to multiply that, okay, by, we're going to take that 9250. Sorry, I got to grab my calculator. And you're going to multiply that by 60, because, so we're going to take this and multiply it times 60, because that's the amount of time, and that's how many times it's being compounded. And so that's going to be 5,551.80. Okay. So which loan will cost you the least amount of money after 5 years? Would it be this or would it be this? Actually, the one that is compound interest would cost you less. Okay. And it's interesting because it has a higher interest rate. So, do you think the lowest cost is truly the best offer for you? Explain your reasoning. So yes, you pay the least amount of interest. Now, compare the scenarios below to determine which terms of the loan, interest rate or length of time, affect payment amount by the largest amount. Then determine which one affects the total amount paid over time. So what we're going to look at, scroll down so we can solve this space. Okay, so over here, you got option 1. You got a $10,000 loan with a 3.2% APR for 5 years. Okay, so we're going to calculate it for monthly payment. So this is compounded monthly, so it's going to be compound interest. So we're going to start with 10,000. And then we're going to multiply it by 0.0027. The way we get that is our R divided by N. Because remember, we're using the monthly payment formula. If you don't know what that is, go back and rewatch. It's probably like last unit. Okay. Then we're going to do 1 plus 0.0027. And so that's going to give me this. And then we're going to raise it to the 60th power because we're doing it for 12 months for 5 years. And then we're going to divide by 1.0027, raise to the 60 power, and we're going to subtract 1 from that. When we do all of that, we're going to get 180.76. So this is figuring out our monthly payment. So we're going to pay 180.76. In total, we're going to take 180.76 and we're going to multiply it by 60. And that's going to give us 10,845.6. On this other one, we're still compounding it monthly. And so when we do R divided by N, that's 0.033 divided by the number of times it's compounded in a year, which is 12. So that's going to equal 0.00275. I would take a moment, pause the video, and see if you can plug some of this stuff in, because I know it's kind of tricky using that formula. But if you do it without it, you're going to get this. And then divide it by 1.00275 raised to the 60th minus 1. So plug that into your calculator, and you're going to get 181 over 0.02. Can't talk. Sorry. And then we're going to multiply that by 60. And so that's going to give us 10,861.20. So which one would be a better option? It would be this one, because you would pay less over time. Now, again, this one has a lower percent APR. Okay. Now, on the next one, the only thing that they changed was the amount of years. So this is still the same. I think it's still the same. Yep. Okay, so let's look at this next one. Okay, so we're going to do this for monthly, and then we're going to do it for total. And the only thing that has changed is years. Okay, so my R divided by N is 0.0032. We're going to divide by 12, and that's going to give me 0.002767. Okay, so our monthly payment is going to be 180.60. When we multiply that out, that's going to give us 10,836. Over here, if we do that with the same APR, so this one is the same APR, that's going to give me 0.00267. But we're doing it for 6 years, so that NC is going to be 72. Okay. So we still get 152.85. And when we multiply that by 72, we're going to multiply by 72 because that's N times T. That's going to give me $11,005.20. So which parameter most affects the amount of payments? The length of the loan. Because look at how big of a difference that is. The last one, it was like $20 difference. This one, it's like substantial. Which parameter affects the most for total payment? Again, the length is also going to impact that. Okay. Looking at the cost of a vehicle ownership. This is really important. You're going to deal with this at some point in your life. Most typical expenses related to vehicle ownership are listed below. Insurance, maintenance, fuel, taxes and fees, and parking. Assuming you use the lowest monthly payment you calculated in part 1 above, determine the average amount you would expect to pay for owning your vehicle. The chart below is giving for your convenience. Okay, so let's say that we're going to do the loan payment of $152.85. We're going to do it monthly. And insurance is also monthly. Just go ahead and put these in. And maintenance is going to be yearly because you get your brakes done, realignment, that kind of stuff. Now, some people do it every 6 months, but it depends. Fuel, let's just say monthly, but we know like sometimes we need it weekly. And taxes and fees are yearly. They happen around your birthday. And then parking is probably going to be monthly as well. Okay. So we're going to take each one of these numbers, and insurance is $448. This number's coming from up here. Maintenance is $800. Fuel is $175. Taxes are $75. And parking is $106. So we're going to take each one of these and multiply them. This is going to be multiplied by 12 because it happens every month. So that's going to give me 1,834.20. The next one's going to be 5,376. Next one is 800. Then 2,100. And 75. Then 1,272. And we're going to add all those up. And that's going to give me 11,457.20 divided by 12 because we want the monthly average, and that's going to give me 954.77. So it is expensive to have a car. It's expensive to upkeep a car. Life is just expensive. Okay, see you in the next video.